They say every reign must come to an end. But what if the end wasn't a challenger, but a reckoning? A ghost from a past the WWE tried to bury. She isn't the next big thing. She is the last thing Rhea Ripley will ever see coming. In the monolithic empire of World Wrestling Entertainment, history is written by the victors. Titles are the ink, the ring is the page, and the champions are the authors. We celebrate their triumphs. We immortalize their reigns. We have seen dominance. We have seen dynasties. We have seen nightmares. But we have never seen a storm like the one that is gathering just beyond the horizon. For over a year, one name has been etched into the very foundation of the women's division. Rhea Ripley, Mami, the Eradicator. The most dominant force of the modern era. She has crushed every challenger, broken every hope, and remade the division in her own brutal image. She stands on a mountain of defeated heroes, a queen with no equal, convinced her reign is eternal. But legacy is a funny thing. It has roots that run deeper than any television contract, deeper than any stadium. It has secrets, and in the darkest corners of WWE's hidden history, a secret has been kept, a promise has been nurtured, a weapon has been forged. They say Rhea Ripley is a nightmare, but she has no idea what true nightmares are made of. The real nightmare is coming for everything she holds dear, and this nightmare has a name. To understand the cataclysm that is coming, you must first understand the sheer scale of the mountain that must be moved. Rhea Ripley is not simply a champion. She is a cultural phenomenon. Her journey from the inaugural NXT UK Women's Champion to the leader of the Judgment Day is a saga of relentless ambition. She possesses a rare combination of raw power, terrifying agility, and a psychological mastery that has left her opponents mentally shattered before the bell even rings. Look at the list of warriors who have fallen before her. Legends, Hall of Famers, the best of the best. Each one believed they had the answer. Each one was systematically dismantled, their strategies turned to dust. Their confidence eroded by the inescapable presence of Mami. Her alliance with the Judgment Day only amplified this dominance, creating a near-impenetrable fortress of purple and black from which she rules. She doesn't just beat her opponents, she absorbs their momentum, their fame, their very essence into her own growing legend. She has created a world where she is the sun, and every other star is forced to orbit her. But what if the very foundation of her kingdom is built on a lie? What if the history we've been told is incomplete? To find the truth, we must travel back to a time before the glamour of the Attitude Era, before the revolution of the women's division. We must go back to the smoke-filled arenas and the gritty territories, where wrestling was less a performance and more a brutal art form. In these forgotten annals of WWE, there are whispers of a different kind of lineage. Not a lineage of kings and queens celebrated on network television, but a bloodline of enforcers, of gatekeepers who operated in the shadows. They were the ones who tested the future champions, the ones who held the real power far from the spotlight. They were a council of elders, a secret society of veterans who believed the soul of wrestling was being corrupted. They saw the shift towards sports entertainment as a betrayal of the grit, the pain, and the sacrifice the business was built on. They called themselves the Obsidian Covenant, and they made a vow. They swore that if the soul of the industry ever became truly lost, they would unleash a Phleus, a competitor forged in their own image, trained in the old ways to tear down the modern pantheon and rebuild it from the ashes. For years, they have waited, watching the pageantry grow, the legacies become commercialized, and in Rhea Ripley, they have found their ultimate target. The Obsidian Covenant knew they couldn't rely on a current superstar. The modern system, in their eyes, was already tainted. They needed their own creation, a vessel of their collective knowledge and fury. And they found her in the most unlikely and most poetic of places. They found her in a bloodline the WWE itself tried to erase. Do you remember the name Serafina? You probably don't. In the mid-90s, she was a phenom, a woman with unparalleled technical skill and a dark charisma that was years ahead of her time. She was on a trajectory to change the business, but she was betrayed. Politically maneuvered out of the company by jealous rivals, she was handed a loss that wasn't in the script, her legacy buried, her name scrubbed from the history books. She vanished, a ghost in the machine. But she did not vanish alone. Her secret partner, a man whose identity was known only to the deepest insiders, was a figure of immense power and darkness. A man who walked the line between superstar and something. else a key figure in the infamous Ministry of Darkness. Together, they had a child, a daughter. Born in secrecy, away from the wrestling world that had betrayed her mother and embraced her father's darkness. This child was a living, breathing paradox, the perfect fusion of technical purity and gothic brutality. Her name is Keres. While other future stars were training in the polished WWE Performance Center, Keres was being raised by the Obsidian Covenant. Her training was not about camera angles or catchphrases. It was about pain. It was about pressure points taught by one legendary technician, psychological warfare taught by a master of the mind games, and raw, untamed aggression instilled by a Hall of Fame brawler. They poured all their resentment, all their secrets, all their rage into this one vessel. She was taught that titles are not won, they are taken. That fear is not a tool, it is the entire toolbox. They kept her hidden, a secret weapon waiting for the perfect moment. They watched Rhea Ripley ascend, her confidence bordering on arrogance, her rule becoming absolute. They saw the system celebrating a product, not a warrior. And they knew the time for the prophecy was at hand. Keres is not just a challenger. She is the physical manifestation of a forgotten legacy. She is the daughter of a woman who was wronged and a man who embraced the abyss. She is not coming to climb the ladder. She is coming to burn the entire kingdom to the ground. She is the ghost of the ministry, the heir to a legacy of betrayal, and the fulfillment of the Obsidian Covenant's dark prophecy. She is Rhea Ripley's sin made flesh. The stage is set, the pieces are in motion. On one side, a queen in her castle, surrounded by her court, basking in the glow of her undisputed dominance. Rhea Ripley believes she has seen it all. She believes there are no more threats, no more mountains to conquer. She looks at the roster of superstars and sees only subjects, but she is looking in the wrong direction. The threat is not in the locker room across the hall. The threat is in a dark room, watching a monitor, her knuckles wrapped in worn tape, her breath calm and steady. The threat is a promise made in a smoky room 20 years ago. The threat is a daughter's vow to avenge her mother's stolen legacy. Keres is not waiting for a contract signing or a #1 contenders match. She is not playing by the rules of the kingdom she has been sent to destroy. The Obsidian Covenant has given her one final instruction. Don't just end the reign, erase it. Make the world forget the name Rhea Ripley. So as you watch Mami hold her title high, as you listen to the crowd chant her name, listen closer. Listen for a new sound. A sound that has been absent for a generation. It is the sound of old-school vengeance. It is the sound of a hidden truth finally breaking free. It is the sound of a nightmare becoming reality. The bell is about to ring for Rhea Ripley's reign. And for the first time in a long time, she will not be the one ringing it. The question is no longer if Rhea Ripley's reign will end. The question is, what will be left when it does? What do you think will happen when this unstoppable force finally collides with this immovable object? Is Keres the real deal? Or will Rhea Ripley prove why she is the most dominant champion of this era? Let us know your predictions in the comments below. If you want to see how this dark prophecy unfolds, make sure you are subscribed to Ring Legend WWE. Hit that like button, ring that notification bell for all our updates, and be the first to know when the nightmare arrives. You do not want to miss what happens next.